Welcome
to Munda Makeover.
We have traveled all over Zambia to find hard-working farmers.
We want to share their success stories.
And where there are challenges, we will bring experts to help them gain the extra knowledge they need.
So they can adapt and make their farms more productive even while the climate changes.
We want to support them to get better yields.
And increase their income.
We will see how farmers from across the country can benefit from our experts' advice.
While also learning from each other in so many ways.
Join us on these journeys and share in the farmers' experiences as they improve their farms.
On
Munda Makeover!
Hello farmers, we're back. But before we start visiting new farms, we want to go back to the old farmers that we visited to see what happened in their farms and talk more about climate change. Last week, we looked at how to be financially literate and make the most profit in our farms during this climate change period. And in the past weeks, we have learned many smart ways on helping us cope with climate change. I am sure some of you are wondering, how am I going to remember all these new ways and implement them correctly? Worry not. IDE, International Development Enterprise, is helping to make sure that there's help on the ground to train farmers so that they can adopt these new ways and be able to fight climate change. They have come up with a good way of training many farmers at a go. Let's travel to the Copper Belt and find out. There's a proverb that says you have to look after wealth, but knowledge looks after you. The search and need for knowledge is never ending, and when it comes to farming, it's absolutely necessary. Bright is a trained lead farmer in his community. International Development Enterprises, IDE, chooses local, respected farmers like Bright and trains them in different ways of farming that helps in fighting climate change. Bright then teaches the farmers around him on what he has been taught and experienced.
And my booster.
Bright. You want to do the whole class without me?
This plant catalyst booster is a new one. So we want to teach our farmers so that they can buy this product
Of course.
to use it.
So as IDE, we're trying to help entrepreneurs, like for instance, Mr. Bright Ziva in this case, make agribusiness as a venture. Like we all know, like the climate in Zambia is changing tremendously. So you find most of our farmers rely on rain-fed crops.
I was affected with climate change. There was a drought for almost 1 month. That means that we enter into loss.
We can take, for instance, like the drought that we experienced like in the 2021-2022 farming season.
Yes.
Like most people were just like confused, like they don't know what to do.
Exactly.
So we want our lead farmers to develop that resilience, like to absorb from those shocks that are there. So as IDE, we're trying to encourage our farmers to venture out into horticulture. And how do we do that? We try to encourage them to use various types of irrigation, drip irrigation and so on.
Right.
So you don't have to have a fancy, so sophisticated irrigation system, no. As well as someone has got a pump to pump water from a water source.
Right.
So we help them set up those irrigation kits.
And then obviously as time goes along and they build more capacity, they can go into methods like drip irrigation that allow them to be able to conserve the amount of water they use, correct? Fantastic.
Because we're trying to encourage our farmers to let them know that farming is still possible even off the rains and like always relying on the rainfall.
I transplant cabbage in 9,200. Then in that time, cabbage was ready on April. So people coming from different districts, they are able to come even at night to look for cabbages. Then I move in other districts. In Luansha, Kitwe, I was supplying. My firstborn is a farmer because he know where money come from.
IDE increases opportunities for small-scale farmers to make more food in different ways by teaching them skills that help meet the challenges brought about by climate change. Let's use Bright as an example. Bright is trained on new ways to farm Bright then becomes a lead farmer. He is now the in-between person in the community and with IDE. Bright lives in the community. This means the farmers see firsthand how he is using the skills he got to improve his crop. Bright then trains his fellow farmers. They in turn improve their skills. This leads to knowledge and skill being passed down, which increases better agricultural practices, leading to better crop production and a bumper harvest. What are the real benefits that some of you can say that you have gained from the trainings that IDE are giving their lead farmers?
There are so many benefits that we are getting from these trainings that we are receiving through our lead farmer. For example, in my case, I know now that for me to have a good harvest, I need to test the kind of soil that I have. Maybe it could be acidic. When it is acidic, I know what to apply.
Of course.
A lot of things. Then I know when to apply. So really, as far as I'm concerned, it's of a good benefit.
Absolutely.
We are benefiting.
The benefit
On the benefits, you just need to look at his demo farm. It is encouraging us farmers to learn. When I look at what is happening at Bright's farm, I can take away one thing. What can I do differently on my land? I need to work harder, and where I need help, I come to Ziva for solutions. Then I can also share the knowledge he has given me.
After learning in farming, you should practice that you learn. Then is when you are going to see the benefit of that technology.
Let's now go to Central and meet our farmer, Abison, who was trained and was also assisted to set up a drip irrigation system that has really helped, especially with the unpredictable rainfall.
Irrigating is by far the most reliable way to grow crops, especially now as rainfall is so erratic. But it can be expensive. Chipo Munanyinda from International Development Enterprises, IDE, is going to help explain how drips have helped Abison get a bumper harvest while at the same time saving money too. Abison, we've just been looking at your drip irrigation system, and I just wanted to ask you, how have the changing rainfall patterns been for you so far?
As for me, the rain patterns, like in my area, it's abnormal.
Does it come on time?
No. It came late, then we are flooded. If you have seen in my wells, the water level is too high.
So when it comes, it's too much?
Yes.
And then does it last long?
About a month.
That's the rain season?
Yeah.
How would the normal rainfall pattern be in this area?
3 to 4 months.
Ah, so it's reduced even less than 50%?
Yes.
With the changing weather patterns, would you, Chipo, describe the drip irrigation as a climate-smart system?
Yes, it is.
Why?
Because even if it doesn't rain, when you have an irrigation system, you can still manage to farm.
Abison, how have you been doing it? I know you have a flooding irrigation field and you have a drip irrigation field. How has it been for you so far?
When you are using drippers, there's no weeds. So when you apply fertilizer, to just works direct to the crop.
Why is there no weed?
Because of the water, it only drops at the crop. Yeah.
So the weed is not getting the nutrients? Yes. Ah, okay. When it comes to labor, how many people do you need to perform the drip irrigation versus the flooding irrigation?
For the drip, just one is needed.
One person?
Yes.
Okay.
Switch on and switch off. So for flooding, maybe 3 or 4. It depends with the field.
Which one is more labor intensive in your case?
Flooding is more labor.
It's more labor?
Yes, because you have to weed. But as for drip irrigation, there's no weeding. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
If you have other activities, you can just go, you switch on the drip, you go and do other activities. But with the flooding, you're supposed to be in the field every time you want to water.
Does the drip irrigation, the pipes, do they get clogged, like blocked sometimes?
Yes, more especially when you are not using the tank, when you are using direct connection.
From the well.
from the well.
How can you avoid that?
If you are
Okay.
using a tank, there is a filter. So we always advise farmers to be using a filter. When you use a filter, even if the water is dirty, the dirt will be captured. And you just have to clean the filter, maybe twice in a week.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Using a tank, it has a lot of advantages because you'll be storing water in there. You water anytime you feel like watering than just putting it direct to the pump.
As for drip irrigation, as you know, petrol is too expensive. When I'm using drippers, for instance, I go for a 2.5 liters of fuel. I'll use it 4 to 5 times.
Ah, okay.
When using flooding, we use it just once.
Ah, okay, I understand. I understand. When it comes to the water, how much do you use on drip irrigation versus flooding irrigation?
As in my case, I use a tank, a 5,000 liter tank for 2 limers.
For 2 limers?
Yes, using drippers.
And what about flooding? What do you use?
It's 3 times.
3 times 5,000 liters?
Yes.
For the same space?
Yeah.
Well, so definitely you're conserving water as well when you use drippers.
Yes.
Ah, does it make sense? Let's get down to the details. Using flood irrigation with a hose pipe can take 2 or 3 people a whole day. For drips, you just need to turn the tap on and turn it off again. Flood irrigation can use 3 times the water of drips. And with drips, there is much less weeding to be done. We are making more profits and saving money, and we're combating the drought and climate change. What's not to love about this system?
I think I would advise my fellow youths who are in the town to come and invest from the village. Do farming. There are many projects. Life has become so easy with farming.
It's clear that drip irrigation is the way to go. Many savings, especially on water, a big help in coping with climate change. As a farmer, you would need to put aside some money at the beginning to buy the water tank, pipes, the pump, petrol generator, or you can go for the solar irrigation system, which costs a bit more but doesn't require petrol to run, so it's cheaper in the long term. This means that you can farm even during the dry period, so you can pay off the irrigation system easily. And it seems Abison doesn't miss the city life. He's having a better life in the village, making money through farming. Next, we're going to look at the weather.
Welcome to the Munda Makeover Farming News for Zambia. Today, we are going to have a look at Zambia's rainfall seasonal forecast for December 2023 to March 2024. We expect varying rainfall patterns across the country. When making such forecast, experts look at how much rain we have been getting in the past years. They then predict if the coming season will be normal, above normal, or below normal in a given area. Let's dive into the details. As shown on the map, the start of rains is anticipated in November for most regions, except for the southern areas where it is expected to start by the end of December and northwestern areas expected to start in October. During October to December, Luapula, Northern, Muchinga, Lusaka, Central, and Copperbelt provinces, including Lundazi, Chama, Kaoma, Kabompo, and Kalabo districts, can expect normal to below normal rainfall. However, southern, western, most of northwestern, and eastern provinces, including Mansa and Mpika districts, expect normal to above normal rainfall. Moving into January 2024, the eastern half of Zambia, including Kabompo district in northwestern province, is likely to experience normal to below normal rainfall. Meanwhile, southern, western, northwestern, and the northern parts of Luapula and Muchinga provinces, including Munda district, are expected to receive normal to above normal rainfall. For December to February 2024, Copperbelt, Central, and Lusaka provinces, spanning across Joma, Petauke, Nyimba, Mbala, Zambezi, Kabompo, Chembe, Milenge, to Mansa districts are projected to have normal to below normal rainfall. Eastern, Muchinga, Northern, Luapula, Southern, Western and Northwestern provinces, however, can anticipate normal to above normal rainfall during this period. In the final stretch of the season, spanning January to March, most parts of Zambia are likely to experience normal to above normal rainfall, except for Ikelenge, Mwinilunga, Mpika, Kasama, Livingston, Mazapuka, Monze, Kafue and Siavonga districts, which will get normal to below normal rainfall. Tips for farmers. If you are in areas that expect less rain, use an ox-drawn ripper or make basins using a hand hoe to prepare your fields. Also, plant cowpeas alongside maize to provide cover for the soil, and after harvest, leave the crop residues on the farm as mulch. This way, you will conserve water in the soil. Plant drought-tolerant seeds and early maturing crop varieties like sorghum, cowpea, or beans. Additionally, try to plant more than one crop. For example, you could have maize with an oil crop like soybeans or sunflower. This way, you will sell oil crops for income as well. Finally, plan to provide small livestock like goats or pigs with water at home in a bucket if communal water points are far away. On the other hand, if you are in areas that expect rain, make sure to collect rainwater from your corrugated iron sheet roof by directing it into a tank, and you will have water to use when the rains are over. Scout your farm for pests and diseases, especially the fall armyworm in maize, and as soon as you spot them, contact your local agricultural officer for advice on the right pesticide to use. Spray your livestock against ticks, which increase during the rainy season. Also, rotate the crow to prevent it from getting muddy, ensuring your livestock's hooves stay dry and prevent foot rot disease. See you next week on the Munda Makeover Weather News.
Now, we're traveling all the way to Kenya, Central Region, to learn more on what to do when you get your weather forecast report. Let's join farmer John as he learns more.
What my parents used to do, they could reap a lot from farming. But after 2 or so years of farming, there was a climate change. From my own perspective, it has hit me hard.
Paul Morage from the Kenya Meteorological Department is a weatherman and the right person to help us understand what's going on and how we can adapt to the ever-changing weather patterns.
For a farmer, water is very basic.
Very important.
Yes. And going around the farm, we've seen rainfall
Right.
is scarce. Like now, it's so hot.
So hot.
When was the last time it rained?
3 months ago, we had some good rain. But now from there up to now, it has been not consistent.
Not consistent. So
Yes.
it will rain this week,
Then,
stay another 5-10 days.
yes, yes.
All right.
Yes.
And how has this affected you as a farmer?
It has hit me hard because once it fails to rain, the crops will definitely dry up. There's no progress after that.
Now what we are describing is the impact of climate change. You get a very heavy downpour, then followed by consecutive dry days.
Prepare for erratic rains by water harvesting on the farm. Install gutters and tanks, and if your land is on a slope, direct the runoff water into water pans.
I know people always predict rain.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you were to ask your dad, so how do you predict rain? And I'm sure he's going to say, oh, I'll face Mount Kenya, or I'm going to see some particular birds, and I know it's going to rain. You as John,
Yes.
how do you predict rain?
I've been relying on information from iShamba.
iShamba,
Yes.
you're digital.
I'm digital in a way.
iShamba is the digital platform for Shamba Shape Up in Kenya. iShamba has partnered with the Meteorological Department in Kenya to help farmers to access their area weather forecast.
So how has it helped you?
They have been telling me the times that it's going to rain, then I can plan when to plant. Right?
How do they do it?
They just told me there's going to be some rain from this day to this day.
It's also good that you are saying you are getting the forecast and it is projected for a week. The essence of us here is to simplify that forecast and for you to be utilizing it for the benefit of your farm.
Right.
Because when we say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it will be dry. And because, John, you are a livestock farmer,
Yes.
and I have seen that you have maize for silage,
Yes.
you can harvest them and allow it for 3 days to be on the farm so that it dries up. Another utilization of it is for spraying.
Right.
We don't want you, John, to spray and then it's washed away.
Right.
Because that is a loss. You may like now to hire casual labor. And if you get that weekly forecast that it will be raining in the afternoon, employ people up to lunchtime.
Right.
Then they tell them to go home because you don't want them, you are paying them and they are not working.
Well in. So, Mr. Murage,
Yes, hello.
what are we doing? Are we doing acrobatics today? We are going to juggle the balls. What's going to happen here?
No, I called this for demonstration.
Okay.
Weather forecast is not 100%. If I pick one and I see there is a 60% chance
Right.
it will rain, there is also 40% chance it might not rain.
Right.
And this is why we call for diversification. That's why I'm so impressed by you. You have maize.
Yes.
I have seen you have some flowers.
Yes.
You have some livestock.
Right.
You can see some chicken there. So diversification is when you don't just do one crop.
Yeah.
Because if it feels that we are talking in the area of climate change, you are done.
We're done.
Does that make sense? Let's simplify it.
Mixed farming helps you prepare for high or low chance of rain. Crops that require little rain will do well if the rains are low, and high-yield crops will cover you should the rains be high. And if the rains fail, then livestock will help keep the farm going.
So maybe let's do this practically.
Yes.
I am the weather.
Okay.
So the weather doesn't know how it's going to come down. So there I am, blindfolded. Here we go.
In the bowl, there are 10 green balls and 10 red balls, meaning an equal chance of rain or no rain.
Well, some rain.
So here we go again. There you are.
Rain too.
You need to utilize climate and weather information. For today it will rain,
Yes.
take advantage,
Yes.
harvest that one.
Right.
The second day it rains, harvest that one.
The meteorological department use intelligent tools to predict the weather, but Carol is using a simple method just for demonstration.
All right. Just to make us understand this further,
Right.
let's reduce the chances of rain.
Okay.
So maybe we remove how many?
6.
balls? 6?
Yep.
All right. So 6 balls are out. All right, here we go. There goes.
No rain.
No rain,
Yes.
All right. There we are.
no rain.
No rain too.
Third one. No rain.
No rain.
When the forecast predicts higher chances of no rain, prepare your farm activities for dry days.
Very insightful and very much helpful.
Be climate resilient. Use the weather forecast.
That's all for today. See you next week on the next episode of Munda Makeover.